Can't believe I'm really doing this. Hi everyone, my name's Matt, and today I'd like to talk to you about something really personal to me and that's affected my life, and that's mental illness. Now, a very significant portion of the world's population actually does suffer from mental illness, but I've noticed it's always treated, I don't know, like you're the black sheep of the world type of thing. Maybe the unwanted thing that most people don't actually want to talk about, and that I know and really know this in my heart that it needs to be talked about. So here today I'm going to share with you some of my mental health story, really. I guess you could say this kind of started around December, Christmas time. I'm not going to say my religion here, but I was helping out basically with kind of a Christmas thing, but anyway, we picked up a lot of toys and we were delivering them to an underprivileged family in a city by where I live. And anyway, got in the car. For some reason, an old woman who was a part of the project was riding with me and my dad as we did it. And apparently one of the kids who we were helping basically had autism. And for a significant portion of the ride, this old woman who I don't think knew a thing or two about autism in her entire life was going on and on about this poor kid and how he'll never be able to succeed type of thing. Not necessarily negative or insulting the kid, more so an ignorant thing, like doesn't know a whole lot about autism. And it really got me a little miffed because, well, I'm autistic. Yes, I have autism. I know I don't look or sound like the prototypical, stereotypical idea of autism people always seem to get in their head. But the truth is, when you see, well, when most people think of autism now, what do they think? They think of children with serious issues, and there are people with autism who do have serious issues, but autism is such an incredibly broad term. It does correlate most kinda together if you really put the puzzle pieces, no pun intended, together. But at the same time, everyone with autism, much like any other person who's neurotypical, that's somebody without autism, is unique. And they have their own unique personalities, basically. I'm what the quote unquote experts would refer to as high functioning, I guess. I don't really like to use that term because to me, even though I'm on, the higher end of the spectrum, I see it as an insult basically to somebody with lower functioning autism, and I don't like to use that term at all. What that means is I can be just as smart or a little bit higher in the intelligence wise than most people. That's right. Somebody with autism can outsmart you. Anyway, I'm finally this video is really tough to do for me because I was diagnosed with autism when I was 5, 6, maybe 7. I can't honestly remember the exact time. I know I was around when I was in the first grade, but I saw the stigma around me. Even if it wasn't in my necessarily in my home life, it was still all around me. But oh, that guy with autism, he's got to be crazy. No, he's got to be alone. He's got to be, I hate to use the word, but the slang term a lot of people still use is retarded, and I hate that word. Truly, if there's any word I hate, I don't like the word, because it feels like such an insult to somebody with autism. Anyway, there was so much stigma around it in all the schools I went to, from K through 12, wherever I went, there was this huge stigma surrounding it. If you were autistic, you were automatically a freak. A lot of people didn't want to be associated with you. And I didn't want that for myself, basically. Even though in really any situation I wind up in, it's very easy to tell that I'm different from other people. I dress differently, I talk differently, I have different hobbies, except for the Infinity War poster behind me. I do things very, very differently than everyone else. And for the longest time, I was afraid of that. Truly, I was afraid to be who I really was around basically the world. I used to try to dress like the others around me. I tried to talk vaguely and what they like, be into that stuff, but it was never me. And I always felt that. Now, I just don't care that I'm different. Now, I've started to realize that I like being different. I used to think of my autism as a curse, and in many ways, when I was growing up in my early, even to now, teenage years, I'm 19, it was a curse because I was always socially isolated from everyone else. Sure, I made a few friends around me, but I was always seen as that weird kid and received minimal social attention from most people around me. Now, that's not to say I didn't make a few friends. I have a few friends I would consider brothers or sisters in my life currently, but growing up, it was never like that. The really close friends I met, one from middle school, but the rest I met when I was a scared little freshman or a scared little sophomore in high school. But I was always so afraid of being seen as that autistic kid that I denied it. Somehow, even to myself, for years, even though I knew deep down that I had it, officially diagnosed with it type of thing, I denied it. I said, nope, Matthew, there's no way you're autistic. And doing that only hurt me. So, I'm here today with a message. Oh, before I get to that message, I'd like to say, back to the curse thing. All that social isolation, all that being seen as different from everyone else, which led to severe bullying. I can't honestly recall there being a year, K through 12, maybe even before that, where I wasn't the target of bullying from other people. And it always hurt really bad. It hurt to be different. I didn't want to be the same as them, per se, but more so I wanted to be accepted and I wanted to be treated as well as everyone else socially, and it never really happened. Still hasn't, in my opinion. And all that bullying and all that isolation led to a depression, which started in, I'm going to give it its earliest thing in 2012. It probably could have stretched before that too. I was never a happy kid either. I think I'm going to try to embrace being different than everyone else. Because here's the thing. Don't ever try to be someone you're not, because it never works out and you will never be happy. Yeah, and I know I'm briefly touched about on a severe depression I experienced and still do experience, partially as a result of my autism. I used to just look at being autistic in the bad ways, like freak, R-word, alone, basically. But now I think it's time I try to embrace being different and start loving myself for who I am, because I will never be, much as I hoped back in the day I'd be that party guy, I'd be swimming in social friendships, be the popular guy at some things. It's time to start admitting I'll never be that guy, and that's okay. I don't have to be who anybody else wants me to be happy. Being myself is the best thing I can do for myself, and I share the same advice. So, I'm autistic, and I'm proud of it. I really am. Now, I've done my own research about autism. By the way, fun fact, when I was denying it, I would Google it. I would Google autism, right? And I would look at the symptoms, and many, many, many of the symptoms I saw almost matched my personality to a T, and it always hurt me because it started to get me thinking, am I just a prototype of autism? A stereotype, basically, a walking stereotype. But now, with this blog, I'm going to try to embrace being who I really am. I'm autistic. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of being different because it makes me more special than just being one of the crowd. Now, in my other research of autism, I found out that it's not uncommon for teenagers, adults, children with autism, like me, to be depressed. I think it was over 60 or 70% of adults with autism have depression, and teens and adults with autism also have a lot of coexisting other problems like really, really bad anxiety, which I kind of have myself, but that's not the point. And the suicide rate of autism, for people with autism, because of that pain, the bullying, the isolation it makes you feel, is through the roof compared to a neurotypical, someone without autism. And that always stuck with me because I've always wanted to make a difference and I just didn't know how. But then, now, I realize that, hey, anybody has a phone, a camera, a means to make a social media. Anyone's voice can be heard, even mine. So, around 2 years ago, I started writing a blog on Wattpad. It wasn't necessarily from my personal events, it was told from the point of view of a character I created to basically be an avatar of myself with autism. Wasn't necessarily derived from my life with autism. Well, loosely based, but I made this blog, right? And a lot of people loved it. Across the various websites I posted it to, it had over 10,000 views. See, I'm an author, I'm a poet, and that was my highest rated thing ever. And people loved it. I was giving people advice on it. And now, I want to expand that into something greater. Welcome to Green Autism, a pro-mental health YouTube channel where people can feel safe. I'll be giving advice to people with mental illness, and I'll be sharing my own mental illness stories to maybe even heal myself fully. Because depression is a bitch. And it can't just be solved. It, like a lot of mental illness, can't just be solved by snapping out of it or something like that. It takes genuine hard work to do. And I hope I can be of help. Thank you very much for listening, guys. I appreciate it. Please share to raise awareness. And remember, being autistic, it's not a bad thing. I didn't think I'd ever say this, honestly. I love who I am, and I wouldn't change it for anyone. So you shouldn't have to either. Thank you.